happy Valentine's weekend, and more importantly, happy birthday to me, because today, when this is released, it is my birthday. Woo! Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Happy Valentine's Day weekend. Happy birthday to me, if I do say so myself. I am treating you guys to a romance only book for Valentine's Day. Now, the caveat to that is I am pretty sure in my housekeeping New Year's section, I did say, oh, I don't want to be reading like romance books for Valentine's Day and thriller books for Halloween, and I don't want to be forcing it on myself. Well, I'm not forcing this on myself. I am feeling very good about these romance books. I'm very excited. I'm not pushing myself to read books because these are books that I have been anticipating for quite a while. So I thought, when I pulled my TBR, I thought, you know what, we've got the perfect grounds for a romance only video in February. So let's do that. The 3 books we are reading in today's video, we have got First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. So excited for this one. So excited for this one. And this one is about Aidan Valentine. He is a radio host and he hosts a show called Heartstrings, which is a romance hotline. But he has fallen out of love with the idea of love. And then one day, Lucy's daughter rings into the romance hotline to ask for some advice for her mum, and Lucy doesn't realise it, and then they find the conversation between Lucy, Aidan and the daughter hilarious. It does really well, and so the network call Lucy back on to create like a segment to try and find love for her. But naturally one thing leads into another, and Aidan and Lucy, I believe are going to the main love interests, but I think there's a contention between whether she follows her heart or follows the kind of radio station and follows for money. So I'm very excited to get into this one. I've heard so many good things, and I've never read a B.K. Borison book before, so I'm very intrigued. And then I know book 2 comes out in February as well, so if I like this one, then maybe we can go and pick up book 2 when that one's out. We are also reading Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. If you've been around in 2024, literally the last week of 2024, I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Loved it. Literally read it within 24 hours, and that is kind of unheard of for me. I don't tend to read books that quickly. I have lots of other things that I like to do, so I don't always sit down and read books that quickly. So I read that one so quickly. I then went out and picked up some more of Ali Hazelwood's book, was so excited, didn't pick up a single one in 2025. So this is going to be the first book that we start 2026 with. And in this book, we are following Elsie, and Elsie is a physicist. She also does fake dating as like an evening gig to help her earn enough money, because she does physics teaching and that doesn't earn her enough money to stay alive. She's also type 1 diabetic, so she needs to earn more money to pay for her medicine, as this is based in America. So she does these 2 things, and part of her fake dating side of life, she has this favourite client, and she breaks the rule of only going on 1 date with each of your clients and does a few with this guy, because they become actually like friends, and there's a solid reason why he doesn't want to date for real. And so she's like, I'm just helping you out. He has an older brother who is moody, broody, kind of looks at Elsie like she is the worst thing in the world, and this older brother is called Jack. She gets a job interview for a better paying job with health care. The one thing that draws her back from that job is that the head physicist of the school there, or one of the head physicists, is a guy called Jonathan Smith Turner, who ruined theorist physics side of world with an article that he wrote years ago, and he works at this school. She obviously goes to the interview, she's trying to put it away. She's hated this guy for years because that is obviously her profession that she feels so dearly about, and she realizes that Jonathan Smith Turner is also Jap. So it kind of goes from there, and I'm very intrigued to get into this one. Then the final book we've got is The Sun Is Also a Star, which is a YA book. and I'm reading this one purely for nostalgia, because why not? In this book you are following Natasha, who is her family is originally from Jamaica. They are illegal immigrants in the US and are getting deported. And then you're also following Daniel, whose family have come over from South Korea, and he has like an older brother who is pretentious and thinks he's the best. But they then obviously Natasha and Daniel then bump into each other on the day of her deportation, and they're talking about how fate isn't a thing and that they leave it all up to the universe. I'm so intrigued to get into this book. I think this book is going to be very nostalgic for me, even though I've never read it before. I've read books like this. I've read Everything, I think the other one. Yeah, Everything by Nicola Yon, and loved that one when I was younger, and obviously I've watched the film. So I'm very intrigued to get into this book and go back to just some simple YA writing that will remind me of my teenage years, and hopefully will be a really good time. I have let me try and get out of the sun, sorry guys, but I've got a 40% update, I would say, on the Love Hypothesis. Not the Love Hypothesis, Love Theoretically. So I said that I wanted to read more Ali Hazelwood books because I read, straighten you up. I read the Love Hypothesis last year, not last year, the year before, loved it, and then never picked up another Ali Hazelwood book again in the year, and I don't know why, because this book is everything and more. Like I say, I'm 40% of the way through. I want to keep reading it. I don't want to put it down. I am loving it. It's making me out loud laugh. I'm giggling, I'm laughing, I'm having a great time. I'm loving the connection. I'm intrigued to see how they work around the problem of the story that you're going to see. But in this book, you are following Elsie, and Elsie is a physicist. She currently does adjunct teaching, I believe, which basically means in America she teaches at multiple universities, but she does like a course at each different one, and that doesn't pay very well, and obviously that means a lot of commuting and traveling between job and job. So she has gone for a 10-year job, so it's a job located at one university. It's got hardly any teaching, and it means she can focus on her research. When she goes to this job interview, she bumps into her client's older brother, and her side job is to fake date people. So there's an app where people can hire her. It's not anything more than literally just going to a family function or going out for a dinner. So you can just fake date her, and the rules of the app are you're only meant to do it one time, but she has created a relationship and a friendship with one of these characters, one of these guys on this app, and so she regularly goes back and helps him out at family functions. But she's gone to her new job interview and realised that the guy, our main love interest, Jack, is not only the client's older brother, but also one of the top headhunters for this job. And so she's navigating that because the family don't realise that the relationship is fake, and so he's kind of making it make sense. She's lied to the family, and she's told them that she's a librarian, and then obviously she's turned up for a physics teacher interview. So I am loving it. The yearning, I think what I love about Ali Hazelwood's books is there's always a reason for them not to be together. So there's always a lot of yearning, there's not a lot of spice. It's the build up, and I love the build up. And so yeah, I cannot wait to continue reading on this story. I am about to go for another walk, and I just wish I could sit and carry on reading this book because it is incredible. Like I say, actually physically giggling out loud, that's how good it is, and that's how much I love it. I've just been sat up here and time has run away with me. I wasn't meant to sit up here that long, but I had to finish the chapter. And yeah, Ali Hazelwood just knows how to write well. Her male characters are like flawed but with reason, and same with her female main characters, and no one feels too perfect. It feels a little bit, it's whimsical in terms of you wouldn't get this in a real life relationship, but also it does feel slightly attainable, and I love the STEM side of it. There is a lot of physics terms that are just going straight over my head, but I do love the STEM side of it and seeing a different profession, because a lot of the time we see similar things in books. So I love kind of seeing the STEM romance and just being something slightly different. And yeah, I am gutted that I didn't pick this one up sooner, but obviously I'm loving it now, and I definitely will be prioritizing. I think I've got Not in Love and Love on the Brain as well. well by Ali Hazelwood, so I will be prioritising those books. And I'm really intrigued by Bride as well, so we shall see. But at the moment, dare I say, one of the first books that I've read in 2025 might be a 5-star. Genuinely, I am giggling at this book. Like, it is funny, and the romance has just got me. I am in love, so yeah, might be a 5-star. I'm gonna go drive round to the other side now and go for a walk, and then if I've got any time before, it's my nephew's birthday party today, so if I've got any time before his birthday party, then I will pick this back up and read maybe another chapter or two. But I'm obsessed. We have final thoughts. Sorry, the light in front of this really doesn't like this book. I have so many words and no words all at the same time. Like, I genuinely love this book. This is a 5-star book, and it just affirms to me that I need to read more of Ali Hazelwood's books because I love them. I literally was giggling, like actually giggling reading this book. I thought it was hilarious. The characters, like Jack's grandma, some of the professors, some of the like really bad dad jokes as well that were coming out, incredible. The romance side of it was beautiful. I really liked how there was a lot of yearning, a lot of tension, a lot of build up, and then there was spice. It's not closed door. There was spice in this book at about, I would say, anywhere between the 60 and 80% mark. I can't remember exactly. I wasn't like paying attention, but it was later on in the book. It was definitely over halfway. There was spice in the book, and the spice was written like beautifully. I think sometimes spice can be a little bit cringy, and you're sat there and you're like, oh really? Ooh, I don't like that. But this one was written so beautifully, and it kind of, without sounding like it, but it made you really get into the moment with them. You felt that connection, you felt that romance there, and that then helped because there is a third act conflict in this book, and I think it's necessary for both of their characters' development for the third act conflict to happen the way it did. But because of that kind of tension, yearning, spice, connection that you've already seen, you really are rooting for the characters. And I mean, it's a romance book, you kind of have the understanding that there is going to be a happily ever after. It's very rare that they don't, and if they don't, then you generally know about it in advance. So I loved this book, this story, this romance, and the third act conflict was very good. Elsie's character arc and how she learns to stand up for herself and create boundaries is beautiful, and I feel like I could definitely learn a lesson or two from this story, from Elsie and her development, because actually she grew into such a strong person, which I know is the ideal for everyone, but not always is that possible. And so yeah, I would highly recommend this book. It was a 5-star book for me. I think this one's going to live rent free in my head for quite a while. I am intrigued to pick up more of Ali Hazelwood's books. There is just something about her writing as well. She is funny, and I think that helps, but there's something about the way it is written and how it is written that just scratches an itch in my brain. She really knows how to develop characters. She really knows how to develop romance and create a romance that you are rooting for without making it feel cringy and overdone. So for that, I will commend her, because that is hard. It's a hard task. I couldn't do it personally. So 5 stars. 5 stars. Everyone should read this one. Go out, read Love Theoretically, read The Love Hypothesis, and I can't wait to read some more. With obviously finishing Love Theoretically, we had to start a new book last night to read myself to sleep, and we started The Sun Is Also a Star. We are only 10% of the way through, I believe, 10-20% of the way through, but so far it is that classic YA writing. It's so easy to read, it's so easy to fly through. I have read 40 pages and I think about half an hour, 40 minutes. It is so easy to just fly through and want to keep reading. I was literally falling asleep reading this, so I had to put it down. But I would highly recommend these books if you do want a YA recommendation for a romance. At the moment, I am obviously enjoying it, but could change. I'll let you know. What I really like about this book is obviously you get Natasha's point of view and you get Daniel's point of view. Where I'm at now, they have yet to meet, so you're just getting kind of her backstory about the deportation and his backstory about his brother, but you also get little snippets. So for example, she goes to the American consulate to basically argue against the deportation, and there she meets Irene, and Irene is the security guard that checks everything. Obviously your bag's going through the scanners, and and she makes an assumption about Irene, and basically then you get a chapter about Irene in like the universe's point of view, so the history of Irene, or you get someone use a Jamaican word and you get a definition on where that's come from. You get a history of that. You get as well a history of naming for the family, so for Daniel's family you find out where their names have come from. I really like that aspect because it adds a kind of third layer to the story, so you get very much the first person point of view from Natasha and Daniel, but you also get kind of that universe point of view, giving you a lot of the world. So you're getting very singular perspectives, but then you also get the world perspective through these extra chapters, and I do really enjoy it. I think it really immerses you into the story, into the world, and kind of you can see prejudices and piecing things together. So like I say, I'm only 10% of the way through, so I'm not that far through at all, but I just thought I'd check in and let you know that I have started this book and I am enjoying it, and I will update you more when I've got more to say. But yeah, started in the middle of, let's go. We are about between 40 and 50% of the way through The Sun Is Also a Star. I plan on reading a lot more of this today, so I wanted to check in just while I've got some time before I go to work. We are continuing to plod on with the story. I will say I am not gripped by this book. It's not, I think I said in my TBR actually, because I've just edited that there was mixed media in this. There isn't. I must have looked right at the back, which has a like preview of the next book in there, and there's mixed media in that, but in this actual story there's not mixed media. It's okay. I fear this book is not being the nostalgic way that I thought it would be, and actually it's just reading very cringy and YA, and it's perfect for, had I read it at the time that I read Everything, then I would have loved this book. But the fact that I'm now reading it as an adult, and obviously my romance tastes have changed and what I read and what I'm into has changed since when I was a teenager, I feel like that is a detriment to this. I am really struggling with the way that Natasha is talking about her dad. Her dad has very big aspirations. He came over to America first to get on Broadway and become famous, and he has tried to adapt his accent into an American accent, and she's just, I think as every teenager is embarrassed by her parents, and she's really embarrassed by her dad, but she keeps talking about him in such a derogatory way, and it's just making my heart go out to the poor guy. And kind of knowing that I used to be like that as a teenager, and kind of reading this, it's making me feel like she's going to really not regret these thoughts when she's older, but just have a realization that time is finite, and actually like all this time that she's kind of cringing out and embarrassed by him, actually she won't get back. So I think that is playing a massive part into, like, I read the book and I love their story at the moment, and I am enjoying kind of seeing it. It's very whimsical. It's not, if it happened in real life you would deem that person a stalker, but it's kind of silly really to read. But every time she then talks about her dad, I'm just like, oh, it just gets me. It makes my heart sink for him. But you are following two people who basically, he is told on a tube to look for a sign for God. He then sees her, and I can't remember why. There was a reason why he was like, this is the sign, and so he starts following her, and now they've had this like a moment, and now they're infatuated with each other. It's very insta-lovey. It's very stalker vibes. Like, she went to a meeting and he just waited outside. He cancelled his meeting because he wanted to be with her, and she's now so happy. And I was just like, if this happened to me, I'd be like, what are you doing? So that being said, I'm just not sure I'm vibing with like the premise. I feel like I said, if I was a teenager reading this, I'd be eating this up, be going like, oh my gosh, this guy's just like bumped into her and now they're in love, and how amazing and how wonderful. Now, being a bit more cynical as an adult, you kind of look on it and go, this is just a little creepy. Like, he is just following her around, and at first she doesn't show signs of interest as well, so it's kind of that, at first she's not even interested and now he's just following her around. It just, I don't know, I feel like I'm being a cynical adult and just not allowing myself to suspend disbelief and get like carried away with the story. But I feel like that is somewhat taking me out of it. So it is good, it's not great, and for that it's not going to get a high rating, but I'm not too sure what my rating is at the moment. I would say it's probably around like a 3-star, but we shall see. I have a final update for you. We have finished The Sun Is Also a Star. I didn't love this one. I feel like it's a 3-star. It's very insta love. It's based across one day, because obviously the day starts and Natasha's getting deported in the evening, and so you're following her try and not get deported because she feels like she belongs in America, and then you are following Daniel on the same day, who has a university interview, and they bump into each other and then feel like there's this whole unworldly connection, and it's very insta love, very love at first sight-esque, and it's just not how I want reading books. It's not the storyline and the plotline that I enjoy. And I do think it was very well written, and I feel like had I been at the teenage stage of my life where obviously everyone romanticizes when you're younger, that whole love at first sight, I'm going to meet someone, we're going to fall in love, and it's going to be happily ever after. And it's just, I feel like the older you get, the more cynical you get, and the less you realise, the more you realise that that's not going to be the case. But I thought it was good. It was well written. It is a solid book, and I gave it 3 stars. I just didn't like the insta love side of it, and I also really didn't like the ending. The ending's a little bit ambiguous. It kind of leaves a lot of things unanswered. I feel like you know the ending and then it adds an extra element onto it in the epilogue. Not necessarily is that a bad thing, it's just not necessarily how I enjoy ending books. And again, we all know reading is subjective, it's a lot of personal preference, and this one for me just didn't hit my personal preference, and that is a-okay. There's loads of books out there that you will read and love and be perfect for you but not for me, and same vice versa, and it's either way, it's all okay. But it just wasn't quite for me. I'm glad I read it, I'm glad I got it off my TBR, because this has been on there for quite a while, and it was a really cute romance book, and I feel like I would highly recommend it to any kind of teenagers, young adults out there, that it's very full of insta love, whimsical, kind of get lost away in the moment. And so for that reason it was quite cutesy, but just not for me. But with that being said, obviously we're going to be moving on to our third and final book in this video. We've officially started First Time Caller. I am less than 10% of the way through, so I'm not going to give you any thoughts or feelings yet, but I just wanted to obviously tap onto the end of this review that we have started First Time Caller. I am struggling a little bit to get into the story. We are, like I say, we are just under 10%, and that's only 4 chapters in, so they're quite long. I don't think they are that long of chapters, but the text is quite small, and I've just been feeling really tired recently, but I'm hoping to carve out quite a bit of time today to get this read and read a little bit more, because I'm not working today, so hoping to carve out a little bit of time for this and to get a little bit more of a chunk into it. So I will go and do that, and then I'll come back when I've got some midway or some starter thoughts for you. Okay, so I'm not much further through to First Time Caller. I thought I would give you a small update just because I was filming an update for the other video, and I thought, why not check in? It's a couple of days later. I am 86 pages in, which is literally about 20%, and we have had the phone call with the radio station between Lucy and Aidan, and Aidan has just found out about Lucy joining him on the radio station, but that hasn't actually come into play yet, so I'm still at the very beginning of the story. I will say I am in that kind of world building side where they are getting to grips with the groundwork of the story, the foundations, and so for that I'm still in that beginning stages. I've not got into it yet. I'm not truly gripped into the story. I'm hoping to have a bit more time reading this evening and to get slightly further in, but for how much it's hyped and how much everyone loves it, I'm just not gripped yet. And I don't know whether it's because I was so excited for this, I'm going in with such high expectations that I'm putting it to a disadvantage, or whether I've just not got into the story yet. But I will check back in when I've got a bit further updates. But I just wanted to let you know that it is slow starting for me at the moment, but I'm hoping to have better updates for you very soon. I am literally well over halfway of First Time Caller. I didn't check in yesterday. I was going to check in yesterday, but I was like, I don't want to check in again now until we are halfway. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to check in until we are halfway, because I keep giving these kind of, with First Time Caller especially, I gave a couple of mini check-ins, oh, I'm at this point, or I'm at this point, but it wasn't giving you any substance. So now we are halfway in, and the romance between Aidan and Lucy is ramping up a little bit. There is not a lot of things happening. So I'm over 50% of the way, and we've had our first interaction, our first kiss. But I'm loving kind of the the slow burn energy of this book, where it is literally just like real chilled vibes between them, and they are both trying to fight their feelings without fighting their feelings. So they're both very aware of how they are feeling, their emotions, what's in play, but they are also both trying not to acknowledge it, because obviously she's on the radio as meant to be finding love with like a listener or a viewer. So I've just got to the part now where they've kind of given into temptation. So I'm really enjoying it. I am loving the writing style. I think I struggled to start with because this is a longer romance in the sense that it's 420 pages. So it's allowed BK Borison to have a bit more of setup to the story and to the dynamics of the characters. So I feel like I'm not used to that with romances, especially romances like I've been reading, romances like Ali Hazelwood, where they are very quick to meet the characters, to get straight into the kind of the yearning and the romance. This took a little bit more setup and build up time, and I think I initially struggled with that. But I also feel like I am intentionally wanting to slow down my reading this year and not read as much a month, which might mean that you guys see more videos with only like one book in, or a few more like recommendation sit down videos, because I do want to slow down my reading. But not only that, I want to take back some reading just for myself. I don't want to feel like every book I read should be filmed. Now the caveat to that is this month every book bar one is being filmed, but that's fine. I want to allow myself some time to read for myself, and so that might mean slowing down. That might mean having moments like the last few days where I've not updated you on First Time Caller, but I am just allowing myself to sit in the story more. And I feel like I was so used to having to power through books, rush through books to read them for videos, that actually by the end of last year I wasn't really enjoying them. And partly that's why I'm filming a month in advance, so if it takes me 2 weeks to read a book, I'm then got more wiggle room to kind of finish off videos and stuff like that. But I've just been sitting with the story really, and last night I really struggled to sleep, and so I read to get to sleep, and just I've started falling in love with the characters. I allowed myself to properly sit down and give myself space to read, rather than I'm reading to go to sleep beforehand. I gave myself space to just sit down and read and enjoy the story, and I think that that has really helped my thoughts on the book, because I was using it quite a lot as a vice to sleep, and I felt like that at times meant that I was only reading a chapter or two and then dozing off. So I read a significant amount yesterday, and it meant that I really got into the story. So halfway check-in, I am really enjoying it. It is giving, I don't know whether it's giving 5-star feels, but it's definitely giving like high 4 stars. So we shall see. And it also is meaning that I am feeling really excited for the next release, which obviously is coming out next month, which goes in the series. I did spoil a little bit as to who it's following, but I am very excited for that one. I am very excited to kind of get into BK Borison's writing, because this is the first book I've read by her. I feel like everyone has had great things about BK Borison, but I never delved into her work. So I'm very excited to get into her work this year and see if I continue to enjoy it and stuff. So I'm going to carry on getting ready, and I need to film a few other clips for other videos as well. So I'm going to do that, and then I will check back in once I have finished the book, unless anything groundbreaking happens when I'm reading it later on that I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to update the vlog. Then I will update you guys when I finish the book, which I am hoping to do today or tomorrow, just to have like a couple of long reading stints of just actually sitting with the book and enjoying it. So that's the plan. Okay, we have a final update finally for First Time Caller by BK Borison. The cover on this one just has not sustained me like holding the book or like holding it up. So for some reason the B and the K for the BK Borison has come off, and it's really annoying. But you know, you win some, you lose some. Also excuse the attire, it's cold in this house and my phone's on charge, so I'm sat ridiculously close to the camera, but we've got to do what we've got to do. First Time Caller by BK Borison. I fear I overhyped this book in my head. So in my head, I was so excited for this book. I couldn't wait. It was going to be a book that I was going to love, and because everyone loved it. Everyone who I saw read it absolutely loved it, and I really enjoyed it. I gave this one a 4 stars, but I don't know whether I was overhyping it. I don't know whether I was in a slight reading slump from reading really fast, or whether it was just I couldn't get into this book. I fear I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the premise. I wish, so at the end of each section, you get little kind of radio transcript and I wish there was more of that in the story, because a lot of the time you hear about the radio shows from their perspectives, and you hear about kind of what's going on and what they talk about from their perspectives. But that's kind of where it stops, whereas I would love to read more of the radio transcripts, and I feel like that probably would have elevated the story a little bit more for me. I love mixed media. I love any book that's got a different way of writing, so the radio transcripts were perfect, but I just wanted more. Things like the text messages and stuff like that, I wish there was more of that sort of stuff. I think this book had such strong potential to be a 5-star fave, and it just didn't quite hit. I'm very intrigued to read the next book. I do think that the next book I will enjoy as well. I didn't hate my time with it, I just feel I struggled to get into the story and want to read it, which could have been a combination of things. There's been a lot going on in my life personally, mentally as well, so that could have played a big element, but I just am fearing that I struggled to get into this book, and I don't know whether it's the length of it. I think it probably was slightly longer than it needed to be. I just wanted more from it, and I think that's my issue. That's what held me back, is that from the story I wanted more, and I fear the more would have come from the radio transcripts, would have come from more multimedia, and I think that this story had a lot of potential for that. They were hosting their own radio show, we could have seen more of that, and I think that would have elevated it a little bit in my opinion. But the writing style was good. It wasn't phenomenal where I was like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love the writing, and I know that has been quite a few people's thoughts on it, is that they love BK Borison's writing and they cannot, like, they're 5-star favourites and author by author. I'm intrigued to read the next book in this series and form an opinion. Am I going from this going, oh my gosh, I need to read Love Like Farm series? No. So kind of take that as you will. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good read. It's a 4-star read. Potentially could be bumped down to a 3-star. It is kind of giving that kind of 3 to 4-star realm. I'll give it a 4-star because I did enjoy the characters and they did have me swooning at points, but I just never really got fully invested into the story. And I think partially it's because I had such high expectations, but partially it's just because it just didn't grip me and it didn't give me that vibe and feeling of I have to carry on. But this is obviously the final book that we're reading in this video, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Obviously we had a 5-star read with Love Theoretically, a 3-star read with The Sun Is Also a Star, and then a 4-star read with First Time Caller. So we've had some good solid reads in this video. There's not necessarily, none of them were bad, and I enjoyed my time with all of them. They were all very different, and I am very excited to pick up more from especially Ali Hazelwood as well as BK Borison. I am intrigued for the next book in this series to see how I feel about that, and I think that would maybe then determine how I feel about this series and this book. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video, and I shall speak to you very, very soon. Goodbye. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.